I don't know who started this lie, but it's really getting under my skin. So, I've been running ads for small businesses for a long time, and I've got to work with a lot of different businesses. But ever since I started getting into using webinars to sell, I've been hearing this rule, right? This rule that, hey, there's a cap on how expensive the program or services can be that you sell on a live webinar. And if your price point is over that cap, then you need to, instead of pitching people then and there, you need to push them to a one on one sales call to close the deal. Or you need to host a challenge over 2 to 5 days to sell people on that higher ticket thing. So here's what I heard. I heard that on a webinar, you can't sell somebody something more than $3,000. If it's over $3,000, a webinar is just not going to cut it and you're not going to get the sales you want. And I heard this from big respected names in the industry, from the people who have scaled their own offers to millions of dollars using webinars and who have helped other people scale their offers using webinars. So I just accepted it as truth. And then I heard a different cap from another person who is huge into using webinars in their business, and he said the cap was $2,000. And I keep hearing this. I keep hearing this from people who have been in the coaching industry or even just the webinar space for a really long time. And for a long time, I accepted it as truth. But then I sat back and I thought about it and asked myself, does this actually make sense? And I'm here to pose that question to you as well, because I have proof that that's a lie. I have proof that that is a myth, okay? So I'm going to ask you the same questions that I asked myself. The first question, and the most important one, is what is a webinar really? What is it? Take a moment to think about that. What is a webinar? The answer is a webinar is just a group sales call. It's getting a bunch of people into a room and selling them and pitching them all at once. It's basically just a way to be more efficient with the time you spend selling. So instead of taking 30-minute sales calls one-on-one with a bunch of different people over a long period of time, you do one sales call with a bunch of people on it, and then you can sell a bunch of people at the same time. So then the second question you have to ask yourself is, why would a group sales call not work for something over $2,000 or over $3,000? Can you think of a reason? I've only heard one reason for it from everybody trying to justify this glass ceiling on price points. And that one reason is, oh, once you get over a certain price point, you have to get more personal with people. You need to have one-on-one conversations. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with having one-on-one conversations. But does that mean you're not going to sell anybody? Or even the better question is, does that mean you're not going to sell enough people to make it a really great payday for you if you don't get one-on-one with people? I don't think so. I don't see why. Like, some people will need that extra level of personalization, but everybody, if we've got hundreds of people in a room or thousands of people in a room, you're saying that all of those people need a one-on-one conversation to make a decision, to take the next step, to know that this is a solution for them, to know that they're ready. All of those people need it, or just some of them. It's my opinion, and the data supports this, that some people do need a one-on-one call and others don't. It all depends on where they are in their life at the moment that they're on the webinar. So I tested this. I tested the limit. I said, okay, let us sell something for $2,500 That's right between the $2,000 glass ceiling I was told and the $3,000 glass ceiling I was told, and see what happens. Guess what? Our conversion rates were about 3%, which wasn't a whole lot different from our conversion rates of 6% for a $1,000 program. The math adds up there. It's like you have less people converting at 2.5 times the price, right? That worked out just fine. We were actually more profitable than the $1,000 program, right? So then I was like, okay, we're at 3% for $2,500. What would happen if we pushed up to $3,999? So $4,000, right? We're now $1,000 above the highest invisible limit that for some reason all these people keep saying exists. Guess what our conversion rate was for the $4,000 program? The same program, by the way, just different price point we're testing. 3%. Our conversion rate didn't change. We had the same amount of people convert at $4,000 that we did at $2,500, which means that $4,000 isn't even the maximum that people would pay for this program if the conversion rate didn't change at all. So that for me proved, okay, this is a common myth in the industry, and I don't know who started it, and I don't know why these industry leaders are afraid of these higher price points on webinars. I don't know who taught them this. So then I started looking outside of my own experiences to find people who were selling over this limit on webinars. And I found two very interesting scenarios. First of all, the person who said your limit on webinars was $2,000 also said that you can go much higher ticket with a challenge funnel. I thought that was peculiar, and we'll get to that in a second. Secondly, I found other people selling way above $3,000 on a single webinar, and we'll get to that. So let's take it one at a time. People have this idea, because challenge funnels are hot right now. If you don't know what a challenge funnel is, you basically do 2 to 5 days of webinars to sell people into a higher ticket program. So $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. And the reason they work is because you do a lot of trust building and you get them to make progress on something during the challenge days, right? So people will attend the challenge, they'll get stuff done, they'll believe in themselves more, and they'll be willing to convert to your highest ticket offers. The same person who said that your cap on webinars is $2,000 hosted a challenge, a 2 or 3 day challenge, where he then sold something for over $10,000. I think it was anchored at $18,000, and then you were getting like a discount to like $12,000. And what was so ironic about that is he opened up the cart on the first day and already started getting sales. Let me tell you guys a secret. Challenges are just webinars across multiple days interconnected. So if you hosted a 3-hour webinar on day one and people started buying your $12,000 offer on day one, newsflash, you just used a webinar to sell a $12,000 offer. Will you make more money if you continue to pitch over the next 1 to 2 days? Of course. Like, you're pitching more often, so you're going to make more often. But it doesn't change the fact that you sold a $12,000 program on a 3-4 hour webinar, the first one, right? So already there's like a cognitive dissonance there that it's like they're not realizing, oh, I am selling I am selling over this limit on a webinar. The second thing that I thought was peculiar was I found people selling stuff worth way more than $3,000 on a webinar that wasn't intended to be a challenge. It was actually just a webinar. And the best example for this is Alex Hormozi's launch of $100 million money models. You got onto that call, and very early in on that webinar, you got a pitch for I can't remember, I bought it, I have the stuff, it's on my bookshelf right now. You get the 200 book pitch, right? Which you get all these other training modules sent to you, and you get these bonuses and access and whatnot for like $5,000 or $6,000. I bought it as soon as it dropped. Like literally as soon as before he even finished the pitch, I had my credit card out and my purchase was processing for a $5,000 or $6,000 offer on a webinar. And then the upsell behind that was like an additional $12,000 or something like that on top of the $5,000 or $6,000. And plenty of people took that, right? So that means not only did he sell because I can't remember, I think it was $6,000, but not only did he sell a $6,000 offer on the webinar, but the upsell behind that just doubled down on the profit. Like, you went from a $6,000 purchase to an $18,000 purchase from this webinar, which is how he made almost, I think, over $100 million in a couple days. But on day one, he got really close to, he made tens of millions of dollars is the point. I can't remember his exact numbers, but he made tens of millions of dollars off of a webinar because he wasn't afraid to pitch higher price points. And that's because there is no such thing as a price limit on a webinar. A webinar is just a sales function. It's just a group sales call. You could be selling something for $50,000, $100,000, millions of dollars on a webinar. Like, I don't know who created this rule, but I keep seeing people that I learn valuable things from, by the way, about webinars and challenges and funnels and coaching and all sorts of stuff. People who I learn valuable things from, huge names, and also trusted people who aren't well known but who are doing great work for people in the back end, all seem to have this notion that, well, there's a price limit on this sales mechanism. And I'm here to tell you, they're wrong. And there's proof that they're wrong all over the place. I don't know what it's about. I know some of it is fear, like fear that people won't convert enough at a higher price point to make the ad spend worth it on a webinar. But as a side note, that's like really an indicator that they need to make their funnel more efficient and liquidate more ad spend and control their customer acquisition costs better. But that's really like another topic. I just wanted to make this video because I think that way of thinking is really holding people back from the profits that there are to be had. And it's funny because Alex Hormozi has the most successful webinar in history right now. Nobody else makes tens of millions of dollars a day from a webinar. Nobody else. There were a lot of small differences in his presentation versus the average person's presentation. But what is the biggest difference in what he did versus what everybody else is doing? It's something he talks about all the time. Price point. Nobody else is charging a $6,000 offer with a $12,000 upsell on a webinar. Apparently nobody has the balls to do it. But like, if you really think about it, what's stopping you? So all in all, sell your high ticket shit on webinars. Like, obviously the offer has to fit your audience who's attending the webinars, but that's just what you got to do anyway. So sell them your high ticket programs and then upsell them to your even higher ticket programs. Like, don't subscribe to this common man's fear of like, oh, I can't price more than this. I can't sell a program more than this on my webinar. Like, everybody else is selling stuff for $9.97. Everybody else is also struggling. It's very hard for them to afford the A players on their team. It's very hard for them to sustain high income levels in their business. And the business becomes very taxing on them because they feel like the work that they have to put in isn't matching the income that they want to have. And everybody's trying to figure out, well, how can I get to $1 million a month? But the answer is actually right in front of your face. It's like, make it easier to get to $1 million a month. If you have a $1,000 program or even a $2,000 program, to get to $1 million a month, and we're gonna take the better scenario here, and say you have a $2,000 program, to make $1 million a month, you've got to move 500 units of that or more every single month. That's 1,000 units every month or more if you have a $1,000 program. Do you know how expensive it would be to get 1,000 customers a month, 500 customers a month? Like, that's expensive, especially in the coaching space. The cost to acquire a customer in the coaching business is usually between $100 and $500. So that's like, if you gotta acquire 500 to 1,000 customers a month to be really cracking it off. Oh, by the way, another example of somebody who sells something over that limit for years, who's doing great, who's killing the game in it, is Tom Cruise, the Section 8 guy. I think his offer is like $8,000 or $10,000 that he sells on his webinar, and he does his live webinar every week. Like, you guys. And he does at least 100K a month. I think he does more. But like, he has to get, if you let's say 100K a month, right? And I know I'm taking a detour, but if you are trying to hit 100K a month and it's a 10K offer, you have to sell 10 people a month. 10 units of that program is what you have to move. Not 500, not 1,000 for 100K a month. So if you want to do $1 million a month and you have a 10K program, how many units of the program do you have to move? 100 units a month is what you have to move to do $1 million a month. Your customer acquisition cost probably isn't going to change that much. Maybe instead of a $500 customer acquisition cost, you have a $1,000 customer acquisition cost, or $750. Even if it's $1,000, then you spend 100K a month to make $1 million a month, right? If it's a $500 customer acquisition cost, which is totally probable, then that's $50,000 you spend to make $1 million a month, right? Off of moving 100 units. Now let's go back to the math we were doing before. Let's say you're the typical coach, right? Which a lot of you watching this are. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, for some reason, industry leaders are putting a blind on you. And I don't think it's malicious, and I don't think it's on purpose. I think everybody is kind of bought into the same myth, and I don't know where the myth originated, to be honest with you, but it's a myth. I don't know about you, but it's way better in my experience to have less clients that earn more and have your ad dollars be more efficient. Like, my friends who have businesses and their ROI from ad spend to revenue is like a 3, and they're all right, but they're low-key stressed all the time about their marketing spend, because one thing goes wrong and all of a sudden 30-40% of their business falls away because their customer acquisition costs went up, and now they're scrambling over the ad account to try to figure out, how can we get this back down? How can we get this back down? Like, because their business is crashing over it. And it's like, and now they're worried about, what the economy is doing and all of that. Why are you worrying about what the economy is doing? It's like, you kind of put yourself in that position. Versus me, I get like $30 for every dollar on ads. I'm never worried. I'm not never worried about anything in business. Of course I'm worried, but like, I'm never worried about that, because it's like, okay, like, if my acquisition cost goes up, who cares? Maybe my ROI drops to like 15, a 1-to-15 ratio. It's like, okay, we can figure this out. Like, I can take my time, I can breathe, and I want that for you too. So I'm gonna cut the video off here because I have a meeting in a few minutes that I need to prepare for. But it just infuriates me, and I don't want you to fall victim to the commoditized market, which is, hey, you have a limit to what you can sell your programs for on webinars. Don't buy into that.